Okay, I'm gonna start. Okay, this is gonna be a brief introduction to gameplay ability
Okay.
system with attributes and attribute sets. I will continue this talk on Tuesday. So briefly, uh, what is gameplay ability system? It's made by Unreal. It was developed for Paragon initially, and it's used in Fortnite. Uh, it's a system that all animations, all abilities. Uh, you all know, like, I mean, I have a background in Unity, and I know how, like, traditionally when we make animation, I put some video here, like, but I'll show a Gideon attack, like just a general attack, jumping or making some like general animation. And the traditional way to do it is just to put an animation, put some events that call like events and callbacks, and that's fine. But they do pile up, and eventually we have like a complete chaotic. So this is also Paragon. Uh, we have a bunch of codes, bunch of if else, and And for example, if we want to change like how long the attack length, like if we want to buff our some like speed or what's going to happen on the end of the attack or what happens when you damage, it gets really complicated to manage all those systems, especially if we have like multiple systems and like multiple, I think like hundreds of systems going on in one character. So that's where the gameplay ability system comes in. And so the idea is how I try to make a super simple diagram how this works. So we have gameplay ability system, which is the core of all this, and uh, to use gameplay ability system, every actor has to own actor system component, which an ability system component, pardon, ability system component, and which controls everything else. So now I'm gonna just to this talk, I'm gonna talk about attribute sets and attributes. But there is also tags, gameplay ability, which is the core of everything, and gameplay effects and cues, and some other stuff which I will mention in further talks. So, sorry. Ability system component is basically uh, it's uh, it's a class which we use to communicate anything around gas framework. So, for example, uh, I think it won't be visible on stream because I'm only streaming Firefox. Um, okay, for now I'm gonna show you, but it won't be visible on stream. In our um, in our project, we're gonna have bots. So each bot is gonna have some attributes. So in my super simple, um, our bot has health and energy, and can apply and receive some damage. And see, this is like simple attribute set. And the good thing when we like implement some attribute set, that bot can use it with its like ability system component. I'm not gonna dive into the code, but each boat, let's just say that has its own sorry, but its own attribute set. The good thing about attribute set is that it could be just uh, like let's say we're gonna have multiple bots. We're gonna just make just some data, which is going to be attribute metadata, which anyone can make. And we're going to make a new bot data. And Well, for now, I would have to add like uh, this is you. No, pardon me. It should be up participant set and dot health, and we can alter it here like some value with maximum value, and also with just say energy for now with some value. So we have this as a table, and we could. I mean, the idea would be to just change this is new bot data we just made. I guess this would be a public, and so anyone could change this or alter this. I guess non-programmer. So just and we use it and alter it as for like test or prototype, and we can just continue building on something like that. So that would be like uh, the attribute set, and yeah, so that would be a collection of attributes, and where we could use them, like the idea, uh, like on each attribute set, which is something I kind of did. So which on any value change, on any, let's just say we add a buff on our speed, like speed movement or just health, we would have like as I say like base value of 100, and if we buff it like 20%, we would you, we would we would change that base value with 20%, and we wouldn't have to actually change any of the core values. There wouldn't be only one value. In our case, we would have multiple values, but let's just say we wanna buff our health. There would be like the health base value, and there would be health altered value, and we wouldn't have to change the core value itself, and that would like that carry on like each and every attribute um, in a way. Um, okay, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the attributes, and yeah, that's all questions. It's gonna be
Okay.
lightning.
Yeah,
Uh,
great. So those the C++ code that you're showing, is it native to Unreal already, right? Or
no.
you made it? You made it?
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I put that in the slide, but I haven't made it. All ability system components, all the stuff has to be made in C++ because they are pretty broad, and the idea is, I mean, because all of these things are very it's very you know there are no same abilities, there are no same buffs, there are no same animations, so it has to be set up in C++, and but everything could be open and altered in Blueprint later. So the idea is to be used, I mean to be created in C++, and uh, like expose only elements we want. Sorry because of this, but yeah, we expose only elements we actually want to change in
Yeah,
our
in your
in a
table, you
blueprint.
expose the energy and the health.
No, right now it's not exposed. I mean, yes. So this is we
Yeah,
set
in
the
here.
initial. Yeah, this is the initial values, and yes, it's gonna be set like this. Um, I guess we would make some kind of template for this, and yes, we could make like how many we need, like how much we want to test, prototype, play with it. Uh, but right now, no, we cannot. We not cannot really change them like in Blueprint during the gameplay, if that's what you're asking. But this
So
is going to
hang on.
set
What
them.
you can change them in that you can
No,
change the
yeah,
values, but you can't. like for example, you can't define an attribute set in Blueprint, and you can't add new attributes. All the attributes need to be defined in C++ before the engine starts.
That's
Um,
correct. Yeah.
and I believe that my guess as to the reason why that it needs to be defined in C++ and not in Blueprint is probably something to do with the reflection system, and because the gameplay abilities and attribute sets, all that stuff has a lot of custom editor integration, and I suspect that some of that integration probably relies on something in Unreal's reflection system, which is only available if you make things in C++. So either reflection, the or replication. It might be something to do with replication as well. But
And
yeah,
what does this data table really does? It just holds those information from the C++, or is that something that you can dynamically change?
No,
This is just
it's just for initialization right now.
okay
mm.
for okay.
Yeah, but
And
And
it
what would be
could be
a
made.
just a simple example of the use case? Is just this? I mean,
E-
inside the data table,
this is
after you have
just
it on your boat, what do you do with it?
well, we guess I would show it in UI. We would show it. It's gonna be uh, amount of health, amount of I don't know damage dealt,
Yeah.
which was idea yet to show, but yeah.
are you
Uh,
asking specifically about the data table, or are you asking about like the attribute
The
set in
attributes,
general?
yeah.
So
The attribute says how can they be used in a
yeah,
just a quick a typical example.
well, I mean, the classic canonical example is health and energy and player stats and things about the player, for example, how much armor they have, how much damage
Yeah.
what's their damage multiplier, etc. I've actually never seen that the data table, so I'm not sure about what that does. I believe that in the past I'd always just set the attributes in this, like the default values in the C++, but it probably
yes,
makes sense to have the data table because not everybody is in a position to, it'd be easier to update the values. You don't have to
yes,
rebuild
exactly.
your game, update the values if they come from a data table.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. That's yeah.
Yeah. The one of the like the other reasons why you would have an attribute set as opposed to, for example, a blueprint with variables on it is
Yeah.
um, in going. This will probably come in future talks, but attributes because they integrate with the rest of the gameplay ability system, there's lots of things that work with it. So for example, if you have a gameplay ability effect, that gameplay ability effect can apply modifications on top of attributes, and that's sort of how it's designed to work, is that you set up the attribute set and then you have the effects, which, for example, when you pick up an ability, it might grant you, double health or double damage, for example, maybe the quad damage, let's say. And so what that would do is it would take your damage output and apply a modifier which would multiply it by 4, right?
Yeah.
And so if you but you can't use the gameplay ability effects to alter attributes, well, anything outside of the attributes. That's designed specifically to, yeah, for attributes, not for properties on a blueprint. Yeah.
And and
Yeah.
those new values that you said they will be casted to that table,
No.
like
So
the
that table
no.
sets that will be setting
Yes,
the defaults. The
yeah,
Yeah,
value
that's the
that gets
default. Yeah.
read, yeah, so the value that gets read comes from the gameplay ability system. So the ability system, um,
Ah, yeah.
when you,
There'll be a node, right?
it's a component. So the game, each thing that you want to have attributes will have a gameplay ability system thing attached to it.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
then
yeah.
and that gameplay ability system has a number of attribute sets attached to it, and then any attribute sets that are attached to that gameplay ability, the ability system component, will be possible targets for effects that get implemented by attributes and things like that. So not attributes, abilities. So the ability will trigger an effect which will modify your attributes,
Yeah.
and in most cases you won't be modifying the base attribute. You would be
Yeah.
applying a modifier on top of the
Yeah.
base attribute. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can modify for each actor. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something I want to show later because I mean it's with all the ability and the effects and
Mm.
uh, but yeah, basically, yeah, as Tim said, yeah,
Attributes don't really make sense as a thing that you would use outside of
yeah,
gameplay abilities. So this is sort of like a primer for the the next talk, which Buck will do on
yeah, it's
other
Tuesday. Yeah, it's a couple of
components.
days.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're wondering, well, why would you use attributes? The answer is you wouldn't, not outside of
Yeah,
the
that's
ability system.
yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's for
yeah.
the in a couple of days. Yeah, it's a bit it's broad. Um,
Great.
yeah, but I'll continue in a couple of days. Hopefully, at least it's an introduction for
Yeah.
Okay,
you
thanks.
guys.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks a lot.
Looking
Yeah.
forward to that. Keep